Yo, what's up, it's BenMG Scully knocking out a new video for you guys today. And today I'm going to give you guys my boxing gear, I guess tour. It's not like a house tour where I show you around, but I'm just going to show you some of my, well, as much of my boxing gear as I can. So I hope you enjoy, and if you like the video and subscribe and leave a comment below telling me that you like the content. Thank you very much, hope you enjoy. Now, first off, when you think of boxing gear, what do you think of? Gloves. Now, the pair I used in my sparring video that you'll see are these blue gloves. I've had these now for about a year and a half, and not my mistake, about 2 years. And they're in great shape, I'll be honest. Feel great, the fabric isn't worn, even though I've used these probably the most out of any pairs of gloves I've ever had, which is 3. The 12-ounce gloves, and I use them on the bag and on the pads, and I try to shadow box with them as well, because when you use it without boxing gloves on, you tend to notice when you do put them on, when you're so used to not having weights on your hand, you feel slow. So what I like to do is put these on, so when I take them off after boxing, I feel super fast. And even though it's just comparing to what I've had, obviously. And yeah, these gloves are great. I always use these. These are my favourite gloves I've got for using anyway. And now on to my next pair of gloves. I'm not showing you all pairs, I'm just showing you one glove because the other one just looks the same. I got a pair of 16-ounce Lonsdale gloves, and it's signed. I don't know if this is going to be backwards for you guys, if you can read that. It says Gavin Rees. He was a Welsh boxer, and I'm not sure what he achieved in boxing. I believe he was some kind of champion, maybe like British champion. I'm not sure, but these gloves would be worth quite a lot, but they ain't going anywhere. They ain't. I ain't selling them. I'm keeping these because these were my first pair of boxing gloves I ever got, and I don't use these anymore. I did let my friend use them in my sparring video, just because these are the heavier gloves, and because he had the head guard, you know, at least it was a little more close, because if I gave him a head guard and the lighter gloves, if he hit me with the 12 ounces, no head guard, I mean, that's what some professionals fight with. So, you know, I wanted to at least give myself a little bit of safe, you know, peace of mind, because I wanted to give him the head guard because I'm more experienced, but I gave him the heavier gloves just so, you know, he didn't, just in case he didn't knock me out on my feet, like. But yeah, these are great gloves. I used to use these when I first started boxing, until I got these after a few months, and because of me constantly using them, these gloves, they've got very soft padding on it now. This is me not squeezing hard at all. There's very like soft padding on these now. They're very, like, it's so soft that in terms of how much you can kind of feel the knuckles through the gloves. So I don't see what I mean. Like the padding is very soft. But yeah, I tend not to use these anymore, just because I don't want to lower the quality of them, because they look very nice, and to look at they look great. But they're not the best. Also, the fact that they're autographed, you don't want to use signed equipment. That's why I got these bad boys here. But moving on, now I'll show you some more of my gear. So next, some more gear that you might have seen in my sparring video is my friend was wearing a head guard. This one right here. I don't know about specs with head guards, but I got given this about a year and a half ago, I believe. I got given this for Christmas by my dad, and yeah, it's a great head guard. It's a little beefier than some head guards I've used. In my fight with Nile Rudge, the head guard was a little slimmer, but they had a harder leather, I'm not sure. It had a harder padding on it, whereas this has a little softer padding, but then it's a little chunkier. Yeah, this I haven't used this in a proper gym, because I tend to prefer the smaller head guards, because even though this is a good head guard, because of how thick it is, it can make your head a bigger target, so it's easier to get hit. So I normally like to use the small, like, even if the padding is not as much, I prefer using the thinner fabric, thinner material head guards, just because it doesn't make my head a big target. It's still relatively small then. But yeah, I haven't used this in a proper gym, but when I do sparring in my house, I tend to use it, or tend to let the person I'm sparring use it. I think other people have used this more than me, just because most people I spar in my house, they're less experienced than me, so I give them the head guard, because it wouldn't be kind of fair if they came to my house, I got the best gloves, and I got the head guard. You know, it's not fair, is it? So I always give them the head guard if they come to my house to spar, if they haven't got one themselves, and if they're less experienced. But it does work very well. I have used it. It's not the kind of head guard where you won't get hurt wearing it, because you will. So it's a good way to remember not to get caught when you're sparring, because if you wear this, if you wear a head guard and you think, oh, it's fine, I'm invincible, I can't get hurt, the moment you take the head guard off and you try that again, you're gonna get dropped. So in all fairness, look at Gib, when he fought Jake Paul, thought he could come in with his chin open from when he was fighting with head guards on. Got dropped 3 times, you know, got handled pretty basically. But with this head guard, you do still feel the impact with it, and it's a good head guard for you to kind of gauge how much the head guard really helps, and it helps a lot, but not as much as you may think a head guard would, which I kind of like about it. Now moving on to my next bit of gear, it's my pads. I've had these pads about as long as my blue gloves here, and yeah, they're really nice, really they're good quality as well, like the material's very good, the padding is nice and solid as well. It depends if you have a decent sized hand, it doesn't like slide off your hand as much unless someone keeps hitting it there. If you don't let your arm go flying and you kind of push back with the punches, which you're meant to do with pads, it'll stay on your hand pretty well. And it's the only thing I don't like about it is I'll shake my hand. It's turned into an ASMR video, but yeah. So I always put the zip inside like a little sleeve on the side, just so I don't, you know, rattle all the time, like. But yeah, it's great. It's nice and comfy as well to keep your hand in. It's not one of those ones where you want to take your hand out instantly, and it's not one that like it's gonna stink after either. Like you see some pads in gyms that they'll offer you, and you go like, they say, yeah, sure, I smell the thing, and your nose falls off, you know. So it's a good like it's a high quality bit of gear, like, and I was given these for my 16th birthday, I believe. These are either for my 16th birthday or for Christmas that came right after. I can't remember who got these for me. It might have been my dad. I'm not sure. Dad, if you're watching this, tell me. But yeah, these are really good. I always use these. I use these more than my gloves half the time. I'll get the pads. Sometimes I'll get the pads and I'll forget the gloves, and I'll just hit the pads. And the good thing is because this material is solid, but it's not rock solid, it won't really hurt my hands that much. You should wear at least hand wraps or gloves when you use pads, but these are good. If you don't want to get hurt, if you haven't got like the correct gear, like the like big gloves or hand wraps on pads, then these won't punish you too much for it. But yeah, these are great pads. I love using those. And moving on to my next bit of gear is not even mine, but I'll show it anyway because they are good. They are good quality. Like I said, these aren't mine, but they are Everlast MMA gloves. They're 4 ounces, and I'll put them on for you guys now. And there is a video of me hitting someone with these gloves. I'm not in the body, like I'm not gonna show that on you, but they are very. You are very powerful when you're in these gloves, and when you wear boxing gloves and then you try these out, you really realise like how little padding goes on you. My knuckle is literally like there. That's how much padding there is. There is millimeters of padding. When you compare it to, let's say, 12-ounce boxing glove, this is what the MMA fighters use. This is what the boxers use. You see the difference? Like, this is why knockouts happen so much more often in MMA. It's also why eye pokes happen. Daniel Cormier, John Jones, but because you see a lot of people, they gauge range and they'll go like, throw a punch, oof, got people in the eye, like, you know. Daniel Cormier is a massive example, but yeah, we're boxing, like, these are 12 ounces, these are about 4 ounces, maybe 6, I'm not entirely sure, because amateur MMA gloves I think are 6 ounces, maybe 8 ounces, but professional ones, they're tiny, they're literally 4-ounce gloves. You know, this is a 16 ounce, this is a pound, this weighs a quarter of that, you know, it's just a quarter of the padding. But yeah, you can hurt your wrists in these because there is no padding over your wrist. So if you don't punch correctly, I look like I got bare hands right now, but if you don't punch correctly, you can hurt yourself. There is decent straps on this, but if they didn't have that, if they just had like tape or whatever, you could hurt yourself. Whereas with this glove here, you have got a small level of padding there to protect your wrist, and with my 16-ounce glove, you got a lot of padding there. So like these gloves are very good for beginners. So if you throw a punch incorrectly, which beginners will do, you won't hurt yourself too much. And if you're still learning how to box, but you're getting the hang of it and your technique is coming along nice, these are good because they have a little bit of padding for the occasional slip up with punches. But you know, at this point when you get those gloves, you're not really expected to mess up too much. But with these, if you didn't have this Velcro strap on it, you could hurt your hand. And I have hurt my hand once or twice in this, mainly from landing a clean punch but not wearing hand wraps like what I'm doing now. And because it's hardly any padding, you almost punching someone normal, like in a street fight. And I mean, I've tried using these on someone in like a little training thing, and I only hit them 3 times in the side of their head when they were trying to block, and there was 3 like small bits of swelling on the side of their head, and they weren't even like the hardest shots in the world. So these gloves are deadly, literally. I mean, they are very good for MMA, especially for grappling, because you can grab someone, you know, you can do chokes, everything, whereas these gloves would be quite restrictive. If you're trying to like clasp your hands together, you know, you can still like shake hands with people, you can give people high fives, you can give people, you know, it acts a little more like a human hand in that sense. But yeah, these are very good. And moving on to my next bit of gear. So I didn't use this, I probably should have used it, but I didn't use this in my spa. If I do another spa sometime soon with my friend, I'll upload that and I'll wear these. But I have boxing shoes. These are you're very light on your feet with this. You don't hurt your ankles either because you got some obviously padding on the I don't even know what the name of this part of the shoe is, bloody hell. But this part of the shoe, you have some padding on it, so it's good. Like if you kind of go off balance a little bit, you won't break your ankles. But yeah, these are really nice shoes. Got nice Lonsdale. I had to check the bloody logo then because it reminded me of like Puma or something, but a Puma's like a panther, isn't it? But my mistake. Yeah, these are really nice shoes, comfy as well for how little padding they have in the bottom, as you can see. Like me test where my foot actually goes. Yeah, my finger in there is here. There isn't a great deal of padding. It's like less, like probably like half an inch. But when you compare it to like a normal pair of trainers, you normally got about an inch of padding. But these are surprisingly comfy and they're surprisingly lightweight as well. For how much of a shoe you actually got, these are very, very good. And moving on to my next bit of gear that you guys might like, I've got some actual boxing shorts, black ones as well, as you can clearly see. I've never worn these in a spa, but mainly because you don't wear boxing attire in a spa. You just wear whatever you're wearing to the gym. But I've never worn these in a real spa. I've never worn. I wouldn't wear this in like in a spa I'd put on YouTube either, just because I feel like, you know, if I come in looking like a real boxer and I get slapped up, I'm gonna look like an idiot. So I have sparred like messing around with my brother in these. I like say, oh, hold on, I'll be back. I get into my boxing attire, I come out looking like a proper boxer, like, you know, with shorts on, head guard, you know, gloves, looking angry, like it was funny. But shout out Jay if you're watching this. Tell me what your YouTube is. I'll link it in the description. But yeah, these are really nice gloves. The only person I've seen wear these is my dad, because he done an ultra white collar fight for charity, I believe in like June or July 2019, and he actually wore these, which was really cool. And no, it's cool that like there is a video on YouTube of these being worn. And yeah, on to my next bit of attire. Now, you're probably thinking, Ben, what's that on your head? Yes, it's a headband, but what's this? Where does it go to? It's a tennis ball with a headband. So the idea is you punch the tennis ball, so then it bounces, and you use tension on the rope and you have to punch it so it doesn't hit you in the face. You see a lot of good boxers, they use this as like a way to stop themselves from blinking when someone's coming at them. Because when someone is new to boxing, as soon as someone throws a punch in someone's face, even if they miss, they're gonna blink and look away, and it's a very hard thing for someone who isn't a natural fighter. You know, they always say fight or flight. If someone's got that flight in them and they're in the ring, I had that for months when I first started boxing, and I would close my eyes when someone was throwing a punch, and I used to close my eyes when I would throw a punch, like a combo as well sometimes. But this is a really great way to be able to hit something, but when it comes back at you, you keep your eyes open. So you just got to train yourself to, so like when it comes at your face, you don't close your eyes, and even if it hits you, you don't blink from it, you know. But you see a lot of great boxers using this, and it is very hard to do. I won't be able to do it now on this video, but I'll see if I in some video will just like get like I don't know, like a highlight reel or whatever of me failing on this, but then chuck a little bit of highlights of me doing well on it as well. So we'll see what I do with this in a future video. But yeah, this is great if you want to learn how to not react too much when something's coming at you, and also to get your punch accuracy, because if you hit there, it's going to bounce directly off. If you hit it there, it's going to go flying that way, and all of a sudden you've messed up. So you've got to really get your punch placement on a target that is constantly moving. It's a great way to practice accuracy, speed, timing, and obviously reactions to punches. So people say, oh, it's childish. It's really actually beneficial in so many ways to boxing. My last bit of my gear that I'm going to show you today is my skipping rope. It is tied up, but it's a long skipping rope. I remember I had this when I first started boxing. I was only about 5'7", 5'8", and I used to drag along the floor all the time. And I used to scuff on things on the floor, so it would hit me in the back of the head when I was trying to skip, because it would bounce off something on the floor and not extend fully before it goes over my head, so it would whack me in the back of the head all the time. I'm surprised it didn't knock me out half the time. And I used to leave boxing sessions or skipping, from like 10 minutes of skipping, I'd have like red marks all over my arm from all the times it whips me on the back. And geez, like, you know, it looked like I would been like tortured or something like that when I would come out of a 10-minute skipping session, just because of all the bloody marks on me. But no, this is a great way, once you get used to it, this is a great way to practice your footwork and to be light on your toes, because with skipping, you haven't got time to be able to be flat-footed, and obviously you want to be light on your toes, you know, bouncing on one foot to the other, you know, moving in and out, you know, like it is in boxing. And it is good as well to do at the start of a session. So once, and this is also a weighted skipping rope, so the actual handles weigh about 2 or 3 times as much as a normal plastic skipping rope. These ones are weighted, so you will get very, very sore wrists, not sore wrists, but very heavy hands by doing this. So your hands you won't be able to keep your hands up for a while after you've done 10 minutes of this. So it's a good way at the start of a session to skip this, and then to skip with this, not skip it, to skip with these ropes. So when your arms are tired and you force yourself to keep your hands up, it's a great way, so like when you actually do get tired in a fight, you don't drop your hands, because you've practiced so many times with tired arms to keep them up. So it's a great way to get that natural instinct in you to keep your hands up even if you're super tired and your arms are super heavy. Yeah, that's all of my gear that I'm going to show today, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I would recommend getting all of these equipment along with some stuff I haven't shown today, which is hand wraps and a gum shield, because hand wraps will stop you from injuring your hand, from your knuckles and your wrists, and also you want to get a gum shield, so if your mouth is open and you get hit with an uppercut, you don't lose teeth. So I definitely recommend both of those as well as all of these gear. There are some stuff you don't necessarily need to box, like the shorts. You won't need shorts. And another one is that you might not need a head guard, just because a lot of the gyms you go to, they will normally have their own head guards there that are obviously licensed, and a lot of gyms I see, some gyms won't even let you use your own head guard if it's not up to a certain standard. I don't know if this one would be allowed in a gym. I've never tried. I think it would. It is very nice and good high quality, but only once have I ever sparred anyone who has used their own head guard, and honestly it didn't make much of a difference, but I can understand, if there's a difference in gear, they want a level playing field, I guess, so you have to use their gloves, and you have to use the same gloves, and normally you have to use the same head guard. I can understand that, but maybe you won't need a head guard. You will need a skipping rope. You should have pads. Of course, you will need gloves. You won't need one of these. Of course, it's not an essential item you need for boxing, but it is something I would recommend. I would recommend every one of these, but in terms of necessities, you won't necessarily need that because not many people have it. The shoes you won't need either. These are very good, but you can still box with regular trainers, and you see lots of people doing it. And of course, MMA gloves, if that's what you want to do, if you want to grapple as well as throw punches, or if you just want to have a little more power in your shot and have not have sore arms at the end of it, I would recommend getting MMA gloves too. But that's it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you liked the video, subscribe below, turn on notifications if you like the video, and leave a comment below. Thank you for watching. BenMG Scully is out.